Yes, we're live. So, hello, guys. In the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful, I'm Mohammad Zaidan, Public Relations Coordinator at IEEE Region 8 Entrepreneurship Initiative. Welcome to the Talkspreneur. It's an initiative that invites entrepreneurship professionals from all over the Region 8 monthly to talk about important aspects in entrepreneurship. Today, we are hosting Mr. Mohammad Obaidat. He is the director at Queen Rania Center of Entrepreneurship in Jordan. He's a young entrepreneurship passionate who certified globally as a technology entrepreneurship trainer from Intel Foundation. Also, Mr. Obaidat is certified in business startups and investment decision making. He mentored some Jordanian entrepreneurs and trained several entrepreneurship boot camps in Jordan and Arab region. So welcome, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you, man. You're welcome.
Thank you. So our talk today will discuss one of the simplest yet most powerful marketing tools for a small business owner, which is elevator pitch. So the first question, Mr. Obaidat, what is an elevator pitch?
Well, technically, whenever we talk about pitching a business while we're giving maybe a training or a session for entrepreneurs, we tell them that you have to explain your business in a way that a young kid would understand what does it mean. So it does not have to be complicated, it does not have to be too technical. It has to be very simple, and anyone who listens to what you say can understand what it is. And we say it's an elevator pitch because it has to be very short and restricted with time. The main objective for that is people usually they don't have a lot of time to sit and listen. They have to go, they have a lot of things to do. And most of the time you get the chance to meet all of those important people, investors or possible clients in a meeting or in a conference or an event where they don't have enough of time to listen to you for a long period. You have to prepare yourself to tell me what do you want in less than a minute in a very simple way, not too technical. Convince me that you have an idea of a business that can make money. As simple as that.
Great. So do you think is it important for startups or
It's
like
crucial.
to pitch an idea? Is it important?
It's crucial, to be honest, not only for investors' purposes. You have to have your own elevator pitch for an investor. You have to have a different elevator pitch for a client to get him excited to buy from you. You have to have an elevator pitch for an employee that you want to hire, taking into consideration that you're a startup. You might not have a lot of money to pay for this person, but you believe he's a great person and you want to have him on board. Then you should have an elevator pitch to convince him to buy your idea and be one of your team members.
So like, are we just using it for startups, or like when we should use an elevator pitch?
I believe an elevator pitch is not a startup thing. It got popularized by the startup community, but it's a thing that you use all the time. I mean, in many cases, when we're watching YouTube videos, you would see an advertisement slot that comes for 3 seconds and goes. Very, very small or short period of time. They give you all what they want. For example, in the Middle East right now, we're seeing a lot of talabat videos. You cannot skip it because it's too short, and during those few seconds, you can see what's happening. They can tell you exactly what they want. This is an elevator pitch as well. So they convince you in their product, or they give you the value proposition of their product in 5 seconds until you come join us, come see what's going on at our end. Every single advertisement you see, it has some sort of an elevator pitch. The successful advertisements are the ones who manage to give you the very important information in a short period of time and maybe convince you not to skip it and wait till the end of the program. And the very poor elevator pitch are the ones that you're looking at them waiting impatiently to click skip because they got bored already from the first 3 seconds or 5 seconds of it. So an elevator pitch is not a startup thing. It's a way for you to promote yourself, promote the business, promote you as a person. When you go in an interview for a job interview, you have to give an elevator pitch to convince the person to hire you. Or sometimes when you want to convince your parents to allow you to go on a trip or to give you a loan, you have to give them an elevator pitch so they can be convinced to give you the money or to say, you know what, it's fine, go to the Dead Sea and enjoy.
Great. So, like, how to write and deliver an elevator pitch?
Very cool question. The first step, I believe, before going through the whole presentation kind of thing and prepare a pitch deck that you want to share, you have to answer a few questions from your side, which is, first of all, what am I doing? What is the idea that I'm working on? What makes it special? So what is the core value that I'm offering for people? And why would people buy it? Whenever we meet with entrepreneurs, most of the time they tell you they buy it because they like it, or they're gonna buy it because it's awesome. Fine, it might be awesome, but the idea is not they're buying it because it's awesome. There is a certain value they're looking for. You have to answer that question and find a concrete answer for it. We all might buy an iPhone or buy a Samsung Note 10, whatever. This telephone, we bought it, but each one of us might have bought it for a different reason. We need to figure out what is the reason that most of our customers are going to buy it for. So this is a very important question you need to answer. And at the same time, you need to answer the question of who are going to buy it. Is it everyone? You cannot say everyone, then whom? What kind of people are going to purchase this product? Why they're gonna buy it? And what type of segment you want to focus on at the very first day? And the last question you need to answer is it ready? Or I'm still working on it? Do I have a prototype or I don't have a prototype? Is it a simple thing that you can take off the shelf, or it's a thing that I have to go and install it at the premises? Once you answer these 4 little questions, you'll be able to come up with a paragraph that can say, you know what, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing 1, 2, 3 that serves those people. What makes it special is this, and it's ready. You can take it off the shelf. Or I'm still working at my early prototype. Or right now we're at the lab testing phase. Or today you can find it on Amazon. You can just go and buy it. If you manage to answer these questions, then it's easy. You have an elevator pitch. Don't make it overcomplicated. And always try to make it more of a storyline. Have a storyline in your mind that you imagine the customer waking up, finding the need, finding the solution that you're offering, why they're buying it, and the end result of it.
Great. So I've seen hundreds of startups pitch to angel investors and venture capitalists, and most of them at best are just okay. There have been like plenty or pretty good ones that hit all the key components of a pitch, but only a handful of those took it as a step further and were truly great. So what is the best points to trigger in an elevator pitch?
Well, if your business idea is sound and good, if you're offering a great value, that you're tackling a very important niche in the market, if there is a good financial feasibility in it, then you have a good idea that you should succeed when you pitch it. If you want to pitch it properly, the most important thing is to manage to create a connection between you and the people you're talking to in the pitch. To get people excited, you have to show them something that they can really, we call it the wow factor, they can really relate to. So in many cases, the wow factor could be numbers or percentages that makes them excited and tells you, you know what, this is a weird information, or this is a very interesting piece of information I never heard of. Another thing could be is building an emotional connection. If you manage to build an emotional connection between you and the people you are pitching to, that might make them interested to know more about what you're doing and might make them more excited. So my advice for anyone who tries to pitch.
So how can you do that?
Exactly. My advice is, before you go and pitch, try to know who are the people you are pitching to. Research them, read more about them, try to understand their backgrounds, and try to find what kind of interests they have. Once you have that, you'll be able to sit back and say, you know what, slide number 1 should have this specific piece of information because it relates to all of the jury members who would be excited. Or this piece of information can relate to one of them in terms of his experience, so he'll be part of my team instead of being part of my judging panel. He will be talking about what he knows about my industry, and that would help me more. Or try to find very rigid, interesting data, go to the market, research more information, and find numbers that people cannot really believe, but it's actually a factual number. And this makes them intrigued to know more and get excited. The last part where people most of the time lose the interest of the committee is when they throw a lot of technical terms, especially that happens with engineers. Right now we're hosted by IEEE guys. Most of the time engineers, they throw a lot of technical terms. And unfortunately, they forget the fact that most of the jury members, they don't have that background. They don't really have that technology, let's say, knowledge or experience. So when you speak to them with a lot of technical terms, immediately you lose their interest. Instead of showing them what is the specification or the feature of the technology, try to show them the benefit of that feature. When you tell me I have a mobile phone with a 3000 milliampere battery, that means nothing to me. But if you tell me I have a mobile phone that can last 12 hours, now I understand it. Now it makes sense to me, and now I like it. So always try to focus, guys, on the benefits you are offering rather than the technology itself. So build emotions, or try to show them figures that are blowing up, and try to step away from speaking a lot of technical terms. Technical terms are misleading sometimes, and a lot of people lose interest in them.
Okay, great. So how important is not to restrict yourself to a single pitch? So like to be flexible with your pitch, not to be like strict.
This is exactly why I was talking about researching the background of the committee of the people. If you go and pitch the same pitch 1 and 2 and 3 times, yes, maybe you became the master of this pitch and you know everything about it and you speak it without even seeing any slide. But the problem is not everyone is the same. So when you talk to the people, you have to make sure that you can relate to every single committee that you're talking to, especially when we talk about investment committees. When you go and speak to the committee, you need to know that this committee could be interested in this or that. So if you use a standardized message, this standardized message might click with some people, but might not click with the others. So every time, my advice, at least the first or 2 slides, try to modify them in a way that fits the new committee that you are meeting, or that fits the purpose of the meeting you are going to. The rest of the information is going to be the same. The market is not changing. The pain is not changing. The market penetration strategy you are going to use is not going to change. But at least the introduction of where did the pain come from, this is going to change. So try to make it more relevant to each committee that you are meeting or speaking to.
Okay.
Another thing I would say is it's really important to see your pitches. I love watching Dragons Den on YouTube, like something similar. It's amazing, right?
Yeah.
It helps a lot in understanding how to give a presentation or an elevator pitch, because the way they speak is very exciting and gives you more energy to think about more interesting things to say.
So what about the time? They give us like 1 minute. So as Mohammed, I'm gonna speak very, very fast. So a lot of people tell me, don't speak very fast. That's not a good way to do.
Yeah, they tell you you have 1 minute and you have those 20 slides. You have to present them in 1 minute and speak slowly. So it's like, what do you want from me? That's a failing project from the first moment. Exactly. Like the requirements of this project don't add up. Exactly. Honestly, I don't like giving more than 1 minute. And sometimes in the pitches, I say, can we make it 30 seconds, guys, please?
Oh, God.
You have to choose what you are saying in the pitch. You have to understand that some information, you don't have to say it. You don't have to put a slide for it, or you don't have to show me a slide for it. Some information, it can be answered in the Q&A. Some information can be answered later, one-on-one, if someone is interested and tells you, you know what, I want to know more about it. You can take them one-to-one and discuss it in details. What you need to pitch when you're standing in front of me is the core thing. the pain, the great value you're offering, what makes you different, who are the people you are targeting, which is a very important thing, and end it with a nice note telling me, you know what, I'm ready. I'm at this stage. I need this amount of money to do 1, 2, 3. Don't try to elaborate more, and don't fall in the trap of explaining what is water, because we all know what is water. Today, a lot of people, when they come to pitch, they tell you renewable energy is important because the planet is going under global warming. Don't say that. We know that. Right? Go to the core, go to the value. Don't tell me any public domain knowledge because I know it already, right?
Yeah. So, like, do we have to talk about ourselves?
The team important. The team aspect is very important. But sometimes what we say is, don't give me details about the team. I'll ask you about the team the first question when the Q&A comes, and that could be a trick sometimes we use. Not to be drilled by the question. The first question would be, tell us about yourself. So you lose some time of the Q&A speaking about the team. And after that, you will be taking the rest of the questions. So don't try to lose, or don't let yourself lose a lot of time speaking about yourself and the team. Just show me a picture. We are a team of 5, and that's it. We are a team of 4 engineers. We are a team of engineers. We are a team of multidisciplinary team, and that's it. But don't give me details.
Okay, so after that, if you want to ask, I can answer you, right?
Can give me all the answers that you have in mind. You can show me the CVs if you want, but don't give me the details in the 1-minute pitch that you have.
So, what, like, how to keep it short and sweet?
We say you have to use the KISS technique, which is keep it simple and sexy. Keeping simple and sexy goes through giving me the four answers that I want from you. Keep them neat, which is don't give me extra details that we don't want to hear. Don't fall in the trap of not knowing what you're offering. So when I ask you what is your value proposition, you have to know what is your value proposition. When you stand in front of me and tell me what is your value proposition, you have to know what your value proposition is. Give me the nice numbers. This is why we said you have to create an emotional connection, or give me an intriguing number or a percentage. This keeps it very interesting and sexy, if we may say. I'm not sure if IEEE allows me to say this word. And you have to make sure that you're not dragging information through over-explaining things. Just make it simple, very brief. This thing will make it always alive and will show me that you have something interesting.
Okay, cool. So what about to be positive and persuasive?
Listen, if you're standing in front of me, not showing me that you're enthusiastic about what you're doing, then I'm not enthusiastic at all. I'm not excited about listening to you if you're standing in front of me being dull or being, by the way, being ashamed is a problem. Try not to be shy. Be more positive. Be more excited about what you're doing. Even if you're a lot of people, they say I'm an introvert. Yes, I understand and I respect that. It's a personality type. Train yourself, at least for those few minutes while you're standing in front of the committee, to be as excited as much as you can. Just, you're telling me about your passion. You're selling me your passion. I'm giving you a grant or an investment, believing in you rather than believing in the idea. You know that most of the grade that we give usually when we give a grant, and many early stage investors, they give you the money because they believe in you, not in the idea. If you're not excited, if you're being dull, then I'm not really interested in what you're doing. Another problem that we see, some entrepreneurs, they get over positive and they turn from being confident to being arrogant. You have to be careful. Don't cross that line, because if you cross that line, then you will lose the interest of the investors and the committee. Because the committee, when they give you the money, they believe that they have to add value for you and they have to help you. But if from day one, you're standing in front of us and pitching to us the idea, and you're not willing to listen or take comments, or you're showing us that you don't care about our information, then we already started seeing in the next few days, I have to work with this person and this person will cause me problems. You know what? I'm not interested.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Exactly.
Yes. This is why they say being coachable is very important. So as an entrepreneur, be positive, be excited, be happy, be smiling when you're giving me the pitch, and don't be arrogant. Don't be arrogant, and don't be shy of what you're doing.
Okay, cool. So what about practicing it? So is it essential, like, is it very important to practice it a lot in the shower, as they said for us, for your friends, before and so is that right?
I think that we did for several times was practicing, asking the entrepreneurs to practice it with the closest person to them who doesn't understand what they do. So, for example, if your wife or your fiance or your, let's say, father or mother, they don't understand what they do, and they keep telling you, what the hell you're doing? What's that weird thing that you're working on? All right, create a pitch and practice on pitching it to them. Every time you pitch it to them and they don't understand exactly what you're doing, go back, fix it, and get back to them till they manage to understand it. This would make them at least aware of what you're doing, which is a good positive thing. And at the same time, this would make sure that you know what, next time when I'm speaking to other investors, they'll be able to understand what I'm doing.
That will make it crystal clear.
100%. I remember one of the entrepreneurs we worked with, he had a big challenge convincing his wife that what he's doing is something of value. And because they have two different domains, she's in the medical industry and he's in the IT industry, she always said, like, what you're doing is nonsense. So he practiced, and went back to pitch to her. And when he pitched it to her, she was like, wow, finally I understand what you've been doing for the past 5 years. He used that same pitch for the committee when he came to pitch to us. And actually, he got the money. And we were like, this is great. At least now you got the money and your wife knows that you're not playing around.
That's a good story. So having a business card, is it gonna like make any change, or is it like is it gonna affect on my pitch?
There are different. There are actually different schools over here. Some people, they say yes, you should have a business card. Some say don't. Me personally, I don't. I don't even have a business card for me. Like, they printed business cards for me at one of the places that I work with, and I don't use them because I believe business cards are good. They're very important. But I mean, why do we have these technologies with us? So if we want to be good for the environment, at least let's stop spreading business cards. It's not really important. You can leave your Twitter handle or LinkedIn handle or Facebook handle at the end of your presentation when you're giving the questions and answers. At the Q&A slide, you can keep your information up there. If someone is interested, we'll take a picture to get in touch with you. And if they told you, you know what, we want your information, you can tell them for sure, here's my information from the mobile. Not necessarily you have to have a business card. This is what I believe personally. Others, they say, no, you should have a business card. It's more professional. I think a lot of things we used to be professional in the past, they're no longer applicable. Right? We're changing, we're developing, and Corona changed a lot of things. I mean, in the past, if you told a company in Jordan you want to work from home, they would tell you, no, this is impossible. Today, they're telling you, go work from home, for God's sake, right? So I think we're changing, and I don't believe it's an extra cost an entrepreneur cannot afford.
Okay, cool. So let us go back to the pitch. So is it needed to have like a question in the end or something to make them excited?
Some people play that trick of asking them a question at the beginning or asking them a question at the end. From my personal experience, like I attended a large number of committees for the past few years, I always noticed that the question most of the time is not intriguing for us to answer. And most of the jury committees will be like, either they're shy to answer or they're not interested to answer, and they'll be like, not sure where you're going with this question. So I would say, if you have a really interesting question that can open a door for you as an entrepreneur, if there is a part of your pitch that you believe you can open it better, if they answer your question, then give that question thing. But if it's just a question because they told you put that question or the question is helpful, Not really. And another problem I've seen with pitches, they tell them either ask a question or give them a show. So you get those amazing talents standing on the stage and doing a play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, acting is a profession itself, right? Acting is requires a lot of experience, training, and it's a hard work. I think we're somehow undermining actors if we stand and practice for 5 minutes to do this pitch and make a play out of it. I mean, no, actors train for much longer to do something special. So don't really do that, my friends. Instead of doing that, show me an interesting information. I'll be more happy and excited.
So how could you know that he's an actor?
I think our experience helps us a lot. So in one of the cases, for example, I asked one of the entrepreneurs if he did the interviews. And he said, yes, I did. And he mentioned 2 companies. And he said, I met the sustainability manager in company X and company Y. Unlucky for him, the sustainability managers of both companies are friends of mine. So the people that I managed to meet already through our experience of work. And I asked him, oh, seriously, what are the names of those people that you met? And he was like, I don't remember them. I was like, give me any sign that you met them. With the questions that we kept asking about this meeting, till his partner, she stood up and she was like, okay, let's be honest, we didn't really meet them. If he didn't give me that lie, and he did, that could be helpful for him, but when he lied, he broke all of his bridges and ruined it for me. In other cases, when we start asking questions, maybe I should not be giving you these secrets, but we ask a lot of interesting questions for us, even though we don't know the answer. And when you ask for you that question, we don't know the answer, but we're expecting you to give us a confident answer. A lot of entrepreneurs, unfortunately, they don't give us a confident answer. And when we challenge the answer that they gave us, even though that we don't know the real answer, they fall. If you are aware of your answer and you trust what you're saying, then you stand up for it. Don't listen to the jury committee. Another sign of being an actor or not giving the truth, a lot of people, they come and say, we didn't find any competitor for what we do. Me, and I believe a lot of jury members do that. We have our smartphones with us in the room. So once he pitched the idea, I go online and I try to Google it. In milliseconds, I'll have a lot of similar ideas, either from Jordan or outside. If you told me that there are no competitors or I didn't see anyone doing the same idea, it's either you're not honest.
That's a real problem.
Research. And both are problems, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So the last question. And after that, the audience are more than welcome to put their questions as a comment on Facebook. So please, anyone has a question, write it down. So as we said, it's is it like very important to know the jury and their interests? And is it very important to ask someone that pitch for them and how they asked and like to know more about them?
It is very important, I believe, to learn more about them and ask and do research. The main objective of that is not for you to build a network and connections only, but for you to be able to speak on with their language. So when you understand who are the people you're talking to, if you're speaking to Obaidat and you know that Obaidat is background finance and innovation technology, then when he asks you about financial things or when he asks you about things related to innovation, then you can speak to him with the language that he knows. And if someone else experienced with marketing, then you can know that if I give more information, that person would stand by me or would say, yes, you know what, inbound marketing is a great thing that's becoming something big today. So you will win jury members to your side. It's not a battle per se, but when you're standing and you have 4, 5, 6 people in front of you, you should try with the information to win some of them to be by your side so they can help you convince the rest of the jury. And if that happens, you'd be a winner. To do that, you need to know the people you're pitching in front of. Read more about them. Try to understand who they are so they can speak their language and get them excited to be part of your business.
Cool. So thank you for giving us a great speech and give us your fruitful experience. I think there's no question now. Let me check if there is any question. I will ask you about it. I think we can put your contacts and on the comments, and they can ask you if you can, please.
By all means.
Because like there's no link now. Is that okay?
For sure. By all means.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Your good speech, as I said, and your fruitful experience. Hope for you all will. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.